Okay, so for this project we're going to start with an existing SVG file, vector file of the American flag, Old Glory, and do some adjustments and make it a new glory flag. So here's one route you can take an existing flag and adjusting that. First thing I did was open up Adobe Illustrator and make it a new file, file new. I'm going to make mine for print, make it a letter size, and I want to make sure it's by inches in 1/2 by 11. And this one will be landscape, and I'll say create. The first thing I should always do is save up my file, save as, and I'm gonna put this in my desktop. I got a flags folder here. Now I'll call this flag1 Adobe Illustrator file AI, save. Okay, I'm gonna place that SVG file. I may have to browse for it over here, but mine opened up right here to that folder. US flag, place, and I can click it. Okay, I can right click, transform scale, and I think I'm gonna make it uniform. I think I'm gonna try 75%. Preview, and maybe a little more, a little smaller, 70%. And okay, pretty close. You can also access that through here, through the toolbar, scale to tool. A quick rundown on the workspace here. Obviously, this is our working file. Toolbar over here. Here's one of the main tools we use. Selection tool for moving things around. When I select a tool over here, my control panel at the top gives me some different options I can use with that toolbar or that tool. Also, we have our menu, just like any other software up here. We have our, that's how you can quit Illustrator. We have our file for opening new projects, opening the projects you're already working on, connecting to different software, new. Also saving, exporting, placing images in here, printing things. Some edits you can do, some basic edits, objects. Most of the different items or layers or shapes or even tag in Adobe Illustrator is considered objects, and you can transform, arrange, align, do all kinds of things there. Adjust the type, select different objects and do something with those. Do some different effects, digital effects on these. Different ways of viewing your workspace or your file, different windows, the more actions and tools and alignments, colors, type, links, libraries, all kinds of things you can do to your image. We'll look more at that later. Help, a link to get some help if you have any questions. If I have an object in Illustrator, it will give me a layer. For now I have layer 1, and all the shapes within that layer will be sublet layers underneath there. I can create new layers, delete layers, whatever you want. I'm going to adjust this again a little bit smaller with the scale tool. Toolbars, if I click and hold underneath, there's usually some hidden tools I can use. This one says scale tool. Click there. Oops. Click this guy. Double click the scale tool, and it just brings up the same interface. And let's make this one 80% this time. And go ahead and make it 90%. There you go. Move tool, I can move the whole thing. Or a JPEG. Alright, so now I can make some changes to this. The first thing I'm going to do is expand these out or ungroup some of these layers. This is one many sub-layers all put together into one layer. And what I can do is, with my selection tools, sort of click and drag over everything, make sure I have everything selected. Object, ungroup. Do it again. Object, ungroup. I'm just going to keep ungrouping it until it won't let me ungroup them any farther. That should make things no longer group together. All the stars, for example, or all the stripes. And I'm going to keep going until it won't let me. Actually, maybe I'll stop right there for now. Let me see what's going on with these stars. Okay, so now I have individual stars. Let me go back a little bit. Object. Edit. Undo. Ungroup. I can go backwards. I can undo what I've undone and redo what I did undo. Alright, here we go. Command Z. There we go. Object. Ungroup. And I'm going to check how the stars are working now. Yeah, now I have different lines of stars at this point. Alright. So maybe I want to leave those or drag those out of the way at this level. At this time, Command minus. Because I think I might use some of these whole lines of stars, right? I can take my blue area out. I may want to use that. Those are individually. That's interesting. So my stripes are all together. And if I took all my stars, I could highlight all those and drag those over here. Okay, I'm going to keep those to the side because I may want to use them. Here's my red background, white stripes on top. So everything's pretty much ungrouped except some of these stars, which are grouped together. So if I select one, I select a whole row of them. Some of these stars are separated out individually, or ungrouped. Now let's see, I'm going to move this red one out of the way. Let's see if I can highlight these stripes and ungroup those. Nope, it's not going to let me anymore. So they must be, let's see what's going on over here, where they're located. Right down here. There they are. And they have individual, all these stripes tied together, sort of locked together. And so it's not going to let me unlock those. I could work with those, you know. And actually it's just a stroke, I think. Yes, there we go. Command Z. So they formed these stripes by making lines with strokes. Okay, and I could change the color if I want. Or I could just sort of get rid of the whole thing. Let me see if I can expand these out. Object, expand, fill, stroke. Let me just expand, yeah, the stroke. Okay. Object, ungroup it. May let me separate these out. Let's see. Nope, let me expand it one more time. Object. They're still tied together. I'm not sure how they do that. Maybe the Pathfinder or something. So I'm going to draw a new rectangle. I'm going to make it the same size as this guy here. There we are. So now it's independent on its own and is filled with white, no stroke on that. And I can delete this other one. So 6 of those, and there would be 8 7 red stripes. Okay, so I got my stars, I got my shapes, I got my stripes, and that's how you could break up the SVG and use some of those different elements. Now I can do whatever I want with these elements. I can duplicate them, rearrange them. This is going to be my base shape of my flag here. So I'm just going to mess around with this a little bit without worrying about it too much. And maybe I'll right click, transform, rotate, and maybe 90 degrees. There we go, and okay, good. Maybe I'll get my stripes going the opposite direction here. Option click drag or alt click drag. I can duplicate a bunch of these. I think it was 6 originally. Control minus to zoom out. I'm not changing anything. I have my control minus to control plus, or command minus command plus on a Mac. I'm going to select all these different shapes and go to my alignment, vertical line center, horizontal line, vertical line bottom, horizontal distribution center. That should evenly distribute them and line them up. And I could object, oops, let me select all these, object group. So they all are sort of locked together, and I can move together, and I can always unlock them later on. I can right click, transform, scale. I'm going to do it non-uniform and horizontal. Let's say the vertical, I'm going to change this by, keep this one at 100. Okay, actually let me do the horizontal. Let me change that to maybe 80. Preview that. And let me do 70. Do 100 on that one. Oops. Horizontal, let me do 100 on that one. And vertical, let me do 70 on that one. Let me do 65. Good. Okay, so I have some of these white stripes across here. Go in that direction. I'm going to object ungroup those. And I'm going to grab these two here. I'm going to slide them up here. Just sort of experimenting, sort of having fun with these, trying a couple different things. The cool thing about working on this flag, I can do many, many different adjustments, different organizations, different designs, and save them, and just sort of have fun with this. Not too bad. And now I'm going to make a triangle. So I go to Star Tool, click once, and go down to 3. Okay. Right click, transform, rotate. And I could say 180, I think would be the right one there. There we go. Okay. Oops. Actually, the other direction is right the first time. Command C. I want these arrows to go down, like so. Not too bad. I want to duplicate that. Option, click, drag, or alt click, drag, let go. Now, when I'm moving these around, you see that pink guideline in the middle of it. That sort of lets me know that I've lined it up. I've centered it equally right there. Ooh, I could offset these arrows so they're a slightly different level. That might be interesting. I started giving this a little more of a making this a little more dynamic flag. And I just want to make sure there's no stroke on these. Good. Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V. I can copy those. Transform. Rotate. I can do 180 on those, I think. There we go. And so I got all this action. Some going up that direction, some come down this direction. Bringing some new shapes and dynamics to this flag. And then I can incorporate some of these stars. I could do all 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or what if I did 13? So 8 and 5. Line these up a little bit. Let me put the 5 between those. Offset them a little bit. Good. Object expand. And I should be able to object expand, or I'm sorry, I should not have said expand, I should have said ungroup, object ungroup. Now I can select individual ones. Object ungroup. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Just double check it. So I have 13 stars, 13 original colonies. And I have some arrows going down. I can also trim these up a little bit. I can go here to my rectangle tool. No fill, no stroke. No fill, no stroke. I can take my rectangle tool and I'm going to go over this area here. Go to my Windows Pathfinder tool and part that's over I can delete. Nope, click this. Oop, wrong one, Command Z. Actually, I should do this one at a time. Let's go over this one. Now, click and drag over both of those and cut away. So again, I make another rectangle. Click over just this one arrow all the way down to my flag where that starts. That shape should have no fill. Now I'm going to go to my move tool, click off, and select both of those shapes. One that's empty, one that has a white flag that or arrow that I don't need. Click in the Pathfinder tool, the shape modes. Click right there. And it shortens it and clips it. Okay. Not too bad, sort of interesting. Not 100% about this being centered down here. So I might change the size in this one. Right click, transform, scale, non-uniform. On 100. And my horizontal, I'm going to do 150. Good. Just so I can make it a little more off-centered. I like that, a little bit of off-center. Makes it a little more dynamic, I think. And I think I'm going to take this guy, or these, shift, and move them. Or Command Z, duplicate it. Command C for copy, or Control C. Command V, or Control V on the PC. Okay, so it gives me a lot more action there, a lot more motion.